Raising a child with autism spectrum disorder carries an immense, often invisible weight. For these families, the baseline level of daily stress is roughly 4 times higher than that of a neurotypical household. This exhaustion is driven by the grinding friction of daily life, specifically severe non-compliant behavior during completely normal requests, like brushing teeth, combined with a rigid, inflexible need to stick to exact routines. But beneath the surface of these behavioral tensions lies a hidden biological engine. It is a physiological driver that traditional talk therapies simply cannot reach. Severe autism symptoms function as the visible exhaust of a self-sustaining biological feedback loop that actively traps both the child and the family. The trigger for this loop starts when the lights go out. Between 50 and 80% of children with autism suffer from severe sleep issues, which is a massive statistical anomaly compared to the roughly 30% seen in neurotypical children. To understand why this matters, we have to look at the glymphatic system. Think of it as the brain's internal waste clearance network. It only fully activates during deep sleep, physically washing away the metabolic byproducts that build up during the day. When deep sleep is lost, that nightly wash cycle fails. Instead of being cleared out, cellular waste piles up, leaving neurotoxins to accumulate in the brain. This toxic buildup sparks chronic neuroinflammation, and that inflammation directly aggravates the child's behavioral symptoms, making social inflexibility and noncompliance much more severe. The worsening behavior drives up the parent's stress and sleep debt. The exhausted parents have a harder time coping, which feeds right back into the child's anxiety, leading to even less sleep. This is exactly why behavioral interventions often hit a wall at this stage. You cannot successfully treat a child's external distress while an internal biological engine is actively poisoning their nervous system with inflammation. Researchers at the Massachusetts General Hospital Brain PBM Clinic recently analyzed a clinical case study designed to target this exact biological trap. The intervention relies on dual photobiomodulation, or PBM. It involves applying red and infrared light therapy simultaneously to 2 distinct areas, the head and the abdomen, for 20 minutes twice a day. Previous studies usually only shined light on the head, but the brain doesn't operate in a vacuum. To effectively treat this condition, researchers realized they needed to address the biological geography of the whole body. Here's the two-front approach. Up top, transcranial light penetrates the skull, directly energizing brain cell mitochondria and driving down local neuroinflammation. Down below, abdominal light targets the gut microbiome, calming immune dysregulation through the vagus nerve, the superhighway between belly and brain. By treating both the brain and the belly simultaneously, this dual device acts as a systemic circuit breaker for the entire inflammatory loop. When gut and brain received this daily light therapy, researchers noted an immediate physiological turning point. The children's previously broken circadian rhythms finally began to align. With that internal clock fully restored, the crucial chain reaction starts. The children finally fall into deep sleep. That return to deep rest re-engages the glymphatic system. The brain's cleaning crew goes back to work, successfully washing out the accumulated backlog of neurotoxins. Flushing out those toxins releases the biological pressure valve. It physically alters the child's neurology, giving them actual capacity to handle behavioral and social stressors that would have previously caused a meltdown. To see if this physiological shift translated to the real world, we can look at the rigorous data analysis of this retrospective case study conducted by statisticians at the University of Arizona. This chart shows the primary behavioral outcome. Over time, we see a massive 33-point drop in the Home Situations Questionnaire, proving a drastic reduction in the children's non-compliant behaviors. Looking at this next column, we see the secondary outcome, a 13.5-point drop in the Autism Parenting Stress Index. That figure outperforms previous clinical studies by nearly 600%. But here is the data anomaly that truly shocked researchers. By the end of the intervention, the stress scores for these parents actually fell, dipping below the average baseline of neurotypical families. This data provides quantitative evidence that the core biological tension driving the household has been effectively neutralized. The vicious cycle has been forced into reverse, transforming into a virtuous cycle. We can trace the upward momentum step by step. Better sleep restores brain clearance. That lowers inflammation, which allows for greater social flexibility and compliance during daily tasks. Because the child's behavior improves, the parents can finally sleep. Their sleep debt and depression decrease, giving them more energy to connect, bond, and support their child. To be clear about the science, photobiomodulation does not claim to cure autism or overwrite a child's unique neurodivergence. But by non-invasively rebalancing the gut-brain axis, we can break a devastating biological loop, ultimately giving families their lives and their children back.